Okay, so let's start. This is the first video. Let's start on the most common thing that everybody goes through in life, and the one thing that I don't think any of us can truly ever even understand, even while understanding. But this is trying to find out who you are in life. Do you get what I'm saying? So, a lot of the times, especially in our younger years, we're taught or we learn on our own that you gotta kind of find out who you are. You gotta go in the world and find who you are, find this, find that. And while I get that, I get the sense where people are going with that, I don't ever think it was ever about finding out who you are. Because think about it this way. Even if you believe in reincarnation, even if you believe that you have a past life that you've come from, the whole point of you being in this life without remembering that life is because there's something that you didn't learn. So forget everything you were. Forget who you were. Create who you are. That's that thing. I think that's what we need to start doing. And so instead of saying find who you are, it's create who you are. Or say create who you are. Because think about it this way. You right now are exactly who you are right now. There is no future you. There is no past you. There's only you right now. You've done things in the past and your actions can't be undone. But that's the whole thing. You can't undo the past. Just like you can't necessarily change the future. I don't even know. Like that's the whole thing. It's like you can though. You can change the future. You can change the future by creating you. Because as soon as you realize it's about stepping into who you want to be and not who you think you are or you think you need to figure out, then things start to change, even your mindset. So I'm gonna go with an example of me. Hold on, I gotta think. So I went to college. I graduated high school and I went straight to college in the summer. I tried to start early because I just wanted to leave, to be honest with you. Like, you want to get out and find who you are. That was always my goal as well. So this is all personal experience, but I wanted to figure out who I was as a person. So my phone kind of just ran out of storage. We hate that. Apple. Look. But okay, so pretty much I left for college or whatever. I went in the summer and things were looking good. I met some friends on the internet. Like we had these they made like college pages on Instagram for the freshmen, and I guess I've like always been more sociable than I ever think or than I ever thought I was, because like in high school I fit in with everybody and I was a geek. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I don't even get it for real, but I was like, everybody knew who I was, and I really didn't know who anybody was, which is crazy. I just knew who I talked to, which was like, I had a little group of girlies. It was like I don't know, I guess girls. And then it was the geeks. And I was like, my other little group, and I was just like, both of them. And I was always me. So at the end of the day, I never really still hung out. Like, after school, I kind of forgot everything about school. It didn't exist to me. I had a few gamer friends. And those are some people from school, but I hung out with some people on the internet too. Like, I just made random friends, like, on those little video things, almost like on Megal, but, like, it was those other ones. I don't really know. But at the end of the day, I had some people online that I would play the games with and stuff. Like, I had all of these groups. And this is how I based off my development of even friendships. Because for me, I've never joined a friendship or a friend circle. That shit don't work. Like, think about it this way. You got a web, right? This is you, a dot. This is a circle, a circle, a circle, a circle. And you're connected to all of them, right? But you still are your own individual dot. That's the issue with the circles, is people are in these circles, stuck inside of them. Like, it's a certain dynamic about it. It's a certain function. Like, you can't do too much, or you can't converse or change anything, because things will fuck up the whole circle, and then the friendships are all destroyed. That's why you have to have individual friendships, to be honest with you, because I had all of these circles technically that I was in, but I really was just friends with everybody. And that's the thing. I was myself always. Like, I was friends with them individually and as a group, if that makes sense. So we can hang out all together, that's chill. But individually, every time I hung out with any single one of them, I was still the same person. That way you knew it was like, who I am is who I am. Like, if you see EJ, it's like, oh, that's EJ. Like, everybody knows who I am the same because I didn't treat anybody different. I didn't act any different type of way towards anybody. Who I was who I made myself. And so I started to progress things. Like, I started working out. I started doing little tiny things that I wanted to do or I wanted to normally do, but I didn't. So I just started doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's that thing. It's like, for creating yourself, you got to realize that the only time, there's no ever right time to do it, or there's no specific time to do it. You can call it divine time when you realize everything right then. But, like, until then, it's like, you really just got to do it. It's like, nothing's actually stopping you. And if you don't have the passion, that's valid, but that's where you got to develop the mentality. It's like, everything is programmed in your brain. And that's just how it works. And that's how society can also control you. But at the same time, fuck anybody else. Think about yourself. If somebody else can program you with their own way of thinking, don't you think you can program yourself with your own way of thinking? Meaning you can create exactly who you want to be. So if you want to be a nicer person, you can't be, I mean, of course, just think about it. You're already like trained a certain way or programmed a certain way. So you're not going to be nice all the time to everybody. Say you're a mean person, right? You're not going to be nice all the time. But those times that you can think about that one time you thought about this, and it's like, I want to be nicer. And you realize in this moment, it's that split 2-second decision. You can do the other thing and you do it. That's the start. You won't realize it. It'd be a little different. Like, okay, I just was nice. Okay, boom. That was one day, one time out of your whole life. Like, let's not get overboard, right? But then again, another time will come, and this time it won't be as hard to make that decision. And then soon you won't realize because unsubconsciously you would just start doing it, but eventually you would be that person. And you'll never know it because not just because of the unsubconsciousness, but because of the fact. I'm sorry, that's like a tongue twister. But because of the fact that you're doing it throughout your whole life or your process or from that point on, it's like you're growing yourself with yourself. So it's like when you work out and stuff and you look in the mirror every day, you don't realize things are different until you truly look at yourself and just stop and realize from the past. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're not going to remember. It's like somebody else. Somebody else can see you 2 years later and really be like, you changed. That's because they only seen you 2 years ago. It's been 2 years since they seen you. You see yourself every day, so there's nothing necessarily different to you. But that's why we got to get off that negative mentality too. Because that is never going to change if you never change it. Because you're not going to ever see progress right away or anything like that. And really you can. Because at the end of the day, it's like, it's right there in front of you. You're just not seeing it for what it is. You're seeing it as whatever you used to see it as. But you got to start changing that up too. I think I'm getting off track, so hold on. I got to think about myself. So, start creating yourself. Because, like we said, there's no you to find. You exist as who you are today because of who you were and because of who you want to become. So if you've always just unsubconsciously wanted to become this one person, or were thinking this is how you're going to turn out, so you are turning out like that, it's as simple as thinking about who you do want to become, taking the time to sit with yourself. And there was this one guy, I don't remember who he is, but he's somebody smart. I don't know why I think it's Denzel Washington, but I could be tripping. I really don't know. But he was like, he wakes up every morning and takes 30 minutes. Like, he doesn't go on his phone, doesn't do nothing. He just gets up, sits here like I'm sitting right now, and just sits in silence. He doesn't play music. He doesn't sit there and talk to himself in his head. He doesn't talk to himself at all. Like, he doesn't have any noise. He just sits there and lets his brain almost like meditate is what he's doing. But essentially, you get answers, you resolve questions, you will unsubconsciously start thinking, and then you can actually, like, because if you're not thinking for real, unsubconscious things are things that you can't control because you're not subconsciously doing it. But that's how people start to see what they do unsubconsciously, because like you're not actually doing anything subconsciously, so you start to look deeper. It's like a focus lens or a camera. Like, you zoom in, you can see that detail, but if you zoom in a little more, you can see more. But if you're up close to it, it's not going to look like it. It's not going to look right. You have to be a certain distance away to be able to zoom in and see it for what it is. Do you get what I mean? So start to change your perspective on yourself even. Change your perspective in general. Start to look at every perspective. Your perspective, the other person's perspective, whoever's perspective, you want everybody's perspective, to be honest with you. So even if you get in an argument, let's start with those, because people like to do that a lot in life. But at the end of the day, if you're in an argument or you have a disagreement and you think you're in the right, always sit with yourself for a second. Look at yourself as the bad guy every time first, but not in a negative way, not in a way of we're about to blame ourselves for everything. No, we're not blaming ourselves. We're about to logically think this through and make sure we're not the ones, because we'll always be first to defend ourselves. But that's why we will be always first to look over ourselves or look past what we might be doing. So look at yourself, sit there, see and realize if you're doing something or if there's something you need. Okay, so goddamn storage, but it's okay. We did what we needed to do. But anyways, it let me think though, and it let me do my little thing. But pretty much what I'm getting at is we're gonna look at ourselves first, okay? Because we gotta remember what we are. We're spiritual warriors. So being a spiritual fucking warrior, being a spiritual warrior means you do this for real. Like, you're not fucking playing, which means you're not afraid to get deeper and you're not afraid to hurt yourself first before you hurt somebody else, because we're not putting everybody else before us. But you gotta realize it's a mirror. We're putting ourselves first, meaning we are putting everybody else first, because reaction, action. So see if whatever action you're doing is causing a reaction, because there's been times where I can get snappy or defensive and I don't know that I'm doing it. I think I'm just talking regular, but then I sit there and pay attention. I'm like, yeah, my tone did change or something like that, and somebody else starts to get kind of weird or change a little bit, and you can realize that change in them, and like you start to get a little different. Like, it just starts a reaction, like a chain effect. So does your action cause a reaction? Now, if you do this normally and it's something like makes sense for this person not to know, or for this person to know that this is something that you just do, you know what I mean? Like, this is just how you talk. Then things can be a little different, but you do have to always look at that situation a little deeper than what it is. Like, look at that situation not as you, but as your other person, as the person across from you, whoever it is, or they are the group. It doesn't matter. You got to look from every perspective that you have. So no matter the group, if it's a group of people, you got to look at all those perspectives. And if it's just you and an individual, that means you just got two perspectives, or maybe even three, because it could be third party people that see you but aren't in it. You know what I mean? They could be perspectives as well, and it's all your own mind. So it's not like you're necessarily telling anybody anything. You're really just using yourself, because you know their way. If they've talked to you before and they've helped you through something, or they've used their brain to, like, their logic on you and giving it to you, then it means you have their thought process in your head as well. So it might not be exact. You might not be able to think exactly how they think, but you can be like, what would this person do? Essentially thinking in their thinking process. You just got to do it, and that will change everything. Now, after all of that, then we can assess everything around us. Because if we're not the case, then we don't have to change anything. There's nothing we can do if we did change anything, because that means it's not us. We're not the problem, or whatever. I don't remember where I was going with this whole rant. I don't know. But so yeah, I got where I was going now. So essentially, you're creating yourself. That's what we were talking about this whole time. I don't know how I got where I got, but we were talking about creating yourself. But that's what I'm saying though. Essentially, you don't ever know what's going to happen in the future. You could do all the right things and nothing can turn out right. You can do all the wrong things and everything still works out for you. You know what I mean? It's all about what you choose. You can choose the path of light, or you can just choose the path of logic. Like, either way, whatever path you choose, it's no good or bad necessarily. There's just negative and positive. There's just reaction and action and reaction, if that makes sense. So the action you even taking yourself, so that all of that can go straight into your own brain. Like everything that I said, for real, for anybody else, think about it like a mirror. Look in a mirror and reflect it right back to you. That will change everything, because then you can see the things that you do in your life that might cause a reaction from your own self to make you this type of way, or make you not want to continue, or make you give up in life, or stop doing things, or whatever. Because say you're trying to work out and you give up, you're kind of giving up on that, boom. Or say, I don't know. we lost it there. But in a sense, you're getting what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Say you have a goal and you have a tendency to give up in certain times or certain areas or in certain things. Look at yourself, mirror it, and observe it like a detective. You're a fucking private investigator. Figure out those qualities in that human right there. Not you, not yourself, but that person, as in, if it wasn't yourself, if it was somebody else that you were looking at, what are they doing, or what do they do when certain things happen? Like, it's even when you can say somebody starts to smile when they start to lie, they start to giggle, or they start to get a higher pitched voice when they lie. Observe qualities, observe what's going on. The characteristics is all it's in front of you. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to end this video because I think we're getting a little confused. I think I'm just getting a little lost. I think this video was done for already. But essentially saying, if anybody tells you something you gotta find, that's essentially you just finding things that you like about other things and making it you. So instead of just going ahead and say you like something, say you like a way a celebrity walks, instead of just getting that and taking it and then doing it, make it your own shit. Be not necessarily original, but still be your fucking self. Like, make it your fucking vibe, because it's your fucking vibe. So if you want to do it, but do it how you would do it. And then boom, it's the same thing, but it's original, because it's fucking you. That makes sense. I'm gonna end that there. And I don't even know how I'm about to edit this video, because I think I flipped this phone upside down, all types of shit. But you already fucking know. It's all working on yourself. It all starts with you. So it's a mirror effect. If you start to change your life, start to do better for yourself, start to change your perspective, start to do what you need to do for you, everything around you will change. People will look at you and change themselves or start to do the same thing. Everything will look more positive, because it's nothing, it's all about your own fucking perspective. And that's the end of this. I'm done there.